I'll tell you a little bit about Mom, who's, we all know her as Mom, obviously. It's Phyllis Turner, but Mom was always a very vibrant person, always caregiver. The last years when she was at home, after she had retired, she would make cookies. That was her thing, and she loved to cook. But her cookies were her thing, and I can't tell you the number of times I would be over there and somebody from town would just walk in the door. Most people didn't even knock. They just walked in. Hey, Phyllis, you got any cookies? Well, she didn't have any fresh made. She always had several dozen in the freezer, and that was good enough for the folks that came. So like I said, Mom was always very outgoing, very, very vibrant. And I started noticing maybe 3 years ago, we were at a wedding of a friend's son, and I was walking Mom up to the church, and I noticed she was shuffling. And it's the first time I ever noticed it, but her mind was still good. She was smiling, knew everybody there. That was another thing about Mom. She knew everybody. And I noticed that. So about 3 years ago that started. And then from then, just different things would happen. Like she would be a little slow to respond to a question that she normally would never have been slow to respond to. Physically, she started slowing down, shuffling more. We went to see several doctors. Her family doctor's a good friend of ours, and he was open and honest, and told us that Phyllis was suffering from, just being older and blah, blah, blah. So we kind of took that all in stride. Then fast forward a little bit, it got to the point where she was really having trouble caring for herself, especially taking showers and baths. So we made a conscious decision as a family that we were going to keep her at home as long as possible. And my dad, who's still doing well, he took it mainly upon himself to cook and clean and make sure things went well. And myself and my brother and my sister, we all live, the farthest one's 20 miles. I live 2 miles away, so we were close. Anytime, day or night, we went, done whatever. And it was all okay for a period of time. And then it got to the point where Dad, he's 86, 87 now. It got to the point last summer, about a year ago, where he just couldn't physically do it anymore. So the three of us, myself and my brother and my sister, we showed up more frequently. We started giving Mom a shower, keeping her clean, doing all that kind of stuff, knowing that at some point we were going to have to do something different. But we're a pretty tight family, and we wanted to do everything we could. And so there was a Sunday, I was over there, it was my turn to give Mom a shower. And we'd been told by her family doctor, again, a good friend of ours, that when the time comes to do something different, you'll know it. And we knew that time was coming. I was over there on a Sunday afternoon, early December. My turn to give Mom a shower again, and Dad fell. We were in the bathroom, Mom was in the shower. Dad had been over to get a washcloth for me to wash Mom, and he fell. So here I am, Dad's on the floor, Mom's in the shower, and I turned into a drill sergeant at that point. I told everybody, nobody move, everybody stay where they are, which they were compliant, they did. I called my sister, she came up. It was all under control from that point, but we knew that was a turning point. Now, a little bit about Hoosier Health and Living, which we knew back in the day as Hoosier Christian Village. Both of my grandparents were here. Both of them passed away here in 1999. The family knew a lot of the staff here. We're friends with a lot of the staff, and trust me, have become friends with more of them. So there was no question in our mind where we wanted Mom to go. No question. In my prior career, I'd been in a lot of elderly care facilities, and I can speak from, my grandmother was here for 6 years, and again, she passed away in '99. So we had several years of experience here with the staff, with the facility, the cleanliness of the facility, the helpfulness of everyone that we had dealt with back then. So again, there was no question where we were going to try to get Mom placed. The Sunday that Dad fell, Mom was in the shower, I already described that. I called our family doctor, and he said, here's what you do, blah, blah, blah. And he had to do some things, but within 2 hours, I'm gonna say 2 hours, we knew we had a place for Mom here. I really didn't realize it'd be that easy, and I know having an opening has something to do with that. Maybe the good Lord just blessed us that day, I don't know. But so we brought Mom here. First impressions were just like they were when we left them and years ago. The staff was there to meet us. We got her in a room, and Mom was okay with it. Mom knew that Dad couldn't handle her by himself anymore to do what she needed to do to maintain that quality of life that Mom always expected. Not that she expected too much, but to be clean, to be fed, to be cared for, have a good place to sleep, that kind of thing. So we ended up here, I'm pretty sure I know that was the same day on a Sunday, in the middle of December of last year, 24. And since that time, it's been nothing but great, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it, because obviously it's my mother I'm talking about, the only one in the world who I would listen to growing up. Well, I listened to my grandparents, but Mom was always, like a rock to everybody. So I feel like the least we can do is put her in the best environment possible. We considered, but not for very long, keeping her at home even after the incident, simply because we still work. My sister since retired, but she was working at the time. We all work, we all have families to support. So us staying there and helping Dad with the level of care that Mom needed, it was not sustainable. We were doing okay before, but so that was the first time since '99 that we had come here knowing we were going to spend some time here. The question's been asked what stood out, and I think I already mentioned that, but in my mind what stood out is the cleanliness of this facility. And I tell you why I think that way. You can have the nicest staff, you can have the most experienced staff, you can have whatever, but when you walk in the door, if it doesn't, for the lack of a better term, smell and appear clean, then what does the rest of that really matter? Knowing Mom is in a place that's clean, everything else in my mind kind of falls under that umbrella. That's my opinion. And the cleanliness is only the top level of where everything has gone, as I've already described. The staff, everyone, every single person here has been great to our family, and I mean that. You think about the times where a staff member perhaps would have gone above and beyond. It's been several times now. The most recent, there's 3 that I recall. We had Mom and Dad's anniversary here. The staff prepared a room for us, gave us a room much like we're in now. It was kind of in the back of the building. We had 20 family members come in with a cake and ice cream. Made a lot of noise. We're a very loud bunch. Made a lot of noise. Everybody was cool with that. Had a great time. I say 3 times. The third time was just a minor thing, but I guess the third time has happened a lot, where we would be back in Mom's room, and maybe myself, brother, sister, cousins, Dad, nephews, nieces, we would kind of just, for some reason on weekends, occasionally we will all show up at the same time It happened just this past weekend. I think there was 7 of us in the room, and we were being loud. But that's the hospitality that we feel. We do try to control that. I mean, we try not to be overbearing, but we don't feel like that we're under any kind of watchful eye to not enjoy time with our mom, or as the case may be, her nieces and nephews and all that. And another time that they did definitely go above and beyond happened last week. Yeah, that was last week. Mom's oldest brother, only remaining brother, passed away. And a couple of members of the staff, we bought Mom a new dress to go to the visitation. They had Mom ready completely, 100%, when my sister showed up here to take her to the visitation, and she looked nice. As Dad said, she looked like a teenager. So yeah, she looked good. And that's another thing I want to talk about the staff really quick, that it's not just taking care of Mom. Because I mentioned Dad, he still gets around, still drives. He's here every day, and he gets here early. And I know he gets here early, and bless his heart, I've tried to discourage that, but yeah, this is his 3/4 home now. And they've not only welcomed and taken care of Mom, but I know for a fact that they have gone out of their way to do things for Dad, just being hospitable to him. And they wouldn't have to do that. I mean, there's no way there's no requirement for them to do that. So they're going above and beyond the expectation as far as taking care of Mom and Dad at this point, which helps us kids a lot, knowing he's here and he's welcome and that kind of thing. You talk about the question's been asked about peace of mind. Well, that's such a subjective thing, and it's a thing that it has different levels. Peace of mind is, if I had my way, Mom and Dad would still be there on the south side of Crothersville, and I could go over there Wednesday, Thursday night and have minute steak for dinner or for supper, with mashed potatoes and all that stuff that Mom used to do, and sausage chowder in the wintertime. That would be the peace of mind, the ultimate. But knowing that life goes on and that we're still fortunate to have Mom still around, the peace of mind is that I know for a fact, again, that she's in a clean place, and that's big to me, that she's being taken care of by a staff who will do whatever needs to be done to make sure that she's as happy and she's well fed as could possibly be. And as much as anything, to know that this may be old and cliche, but it's not just their job. You can tell it's not just their job, and I mean that. It's like a lifestyle to, especially, and they're all great, but especially 2 or 3 of the young ladies who work in Mom's area down there. I was here the other day, and a couple of them came in, and it's like my nieces walked in the room. It wasn't strangers. They started giving Dad a hard time, and Dad was giving them a hard time, and I was laughing all the time. Mom was laughing. I mean, so it's like this extended family. And that's a big peace of mind thing. That's huge, knowing that they love her. And I think most of the time she loves them back. I do. And that's huge. And I talked with my brother and sister before we did this, and they echoed that as well, that both of them said point blank, they have nothing negative to say, nothing. And so, yeah. I mentioned the love part, that's, and I'm not a romantic or whatever kind of guy, but at the end of the day, there's 2 things that we have, and you've got to have hope, and you got to be loved. And I feel like Hoosier Health and Living provide both of those for our family. The hope is that with therapy, that when mom's willing to do it, that she's gone through, I've seen an improvement. She's gained weight. That's another thing I didn't mention, as well as much as Dad was trying, and he was trying, we couldn't get her to eat. And I know Dad's not a terrible cook, but since she's come here, she's gained, don't quote me, 25 pounds. I mean, you can, Margaret, she has gained weight, and so that and the love that's shown. I was mentioning the hope. So look, we know that Mom's not going to be out running any races. I mean, she's just not. But the hope is that the last years of her life, whether that's ends tomorrow or whether that's 10 years from now, whatever that may be, the hope is that she'll be well taken care of, as well as she would be taken care of by her very own family. And that's a huge thing. We all can rest easy at night knowing that that's happening, and that's the hope part of it. If I could, the question is that if I could talk to another family, and what would I want them to know? Well, the obvious things are that, and I know that question relates to Mom's being a resident here, but always have each other's back. And I guess the big thing is, as it relates, as your parents age or whatever the case may be, if it's inevitable that something different is going to have to happen as far as caring for a parent, a sibling, whatever, the time will come when you'll know the time is right, and whether that person that you love and care for comes here to Brownstown, to this facility at Hoosier Health and Living, or whether they go somewhere else. I hope I hope they would have as much, I hate to call it luck, but to be as fortunate to make those choices, and that their family member would be taken care of as much as Mom has been. What I want them to know, that you just have each other's back, and you make the best decision you can. You surround yourself. There's an old adage about, and this is true in this particular instance, what Mom's gone through and what the family's gone through, as much as anything. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be the smartest in the room, and most of the time we probably should realize we're not. But it's important that you surround yourself with good people, and that's what we've done here. In a nutshell, we've surrounded ourselves with good people. We don't have to know what Mom's eating every day. We don't have to know how many hours of sleep she's getting a night. We don't have to know that she's getting the proper medication. We don't have to know those things, but we do need to know people who know how to take care of those things. And that's exactly what we have here, 100%. I think I've described this place as well as I could. I keep calling it this place, Hoosier Health and Living, this second home that we all have now. I don't know that I could describe it in just welcoming, comfortable, clean. I think that would pretty much cover it. There's a lot of care and love that goes on in this place. And again, I'm not the most romantic guy in the world, but I see it. I can feel it when I walk in the door. And the interaction with Mom and Dad, and even me, just a visitor. So if I had to describe it in a word or two, welcoming, comfortable, clean, and just a positive place to be for everyone.